based off of our connection and just you being a friend, I need to show you my two tech companies and get your perspective on it. Because now I have friends that can give a perspective. Like when I would work on albums, I had other friends that worked on albums and they would give me their perspectives on it.
You want to do this?
We are doing it. This is part of it.
This is part of it?
Absolutely.
All right, beautiful.
Oh, well, I wanted to finish. The thing is, okay, you're going to ask me different questions, but I'm about growing and building and bringing the idea to life. So when I see you, I say, oh, this guy understands how to hire engineers. Where I'm coming from Hollywood, coming from press, coming from media, all of the guys, that so many of the guys that have been like voices and faces and talking heads, whatever, have not understood how to engineer product. And that's the reason why I was able to jump past everyone in the entertainment field and become, whatever the net worth is, 11 billion. I'm going to stop putting the whole black thing on my worth. Like, let's just see where I am on the scale of life, because that's a cop out for me to say richest black guy of all time, because that's feeding into the same, trauma economy that Black Lives Matter feeds into. That's why I love and respect engineers. That's the only thing that we really need to teach in school is engineering. We don't need to teach history. We don't need to teach anything that is subjective. It needs to only be engineering taught in school, and everything else needs to be recess. Nothing that at all, any forced subjective information is just to weaken and indoctrinate our species. And that's what schools do now.
As an engineer, I love hearing you say that, but to push back, history is not, the interpretation of history might be subjective, but history has some facts and they're useful to give a grounding to the way you do engineering.
I don't 100% believe in anything, any concept of the future or any concept of history, because history was just written by the victors.
Yeah, that's
so
right.
If I see stuff happen on the day that later that day is reported wrong. So how wrong is something reported 1,000 years ago? And why would we argue about something that's not in the now? Because that's the only thing that everyone can agree upon, is that it is now, right now.
Yeah, well, you try not to make the mistakes of the past. That's the usefulness of history, the limited usefulness of history.
The biggest mistake from the past that we keep making is looking at the past.
Too much. Giving too much value to the past.
Too much value to the past. We are now. We are now. We are here. We are one species. We are one race. We're here. And it's time. And the leadership is changing, because you have Elon as a leader, Ye as a leader, and we're the top leaders. We're more influential than the presidents.
So you're a human being with engineering challenges before you, with a STEM player, with Parlor. What's the hardest thing in front of you on the engineering front?
That's the first sentence that any of our species needs to hear when they're born. You are a human being with engineering challenges, and I consider challenges to be opportunities in front of you.
Yeah.
Literally, like, let me see a piece of paper. I need to write that down. That's the beginning
That's a good line.
Of our new species constitution. I'm going to do the paper like this wide. I'll put it in widescreen. This for Ridley. You are, no, let me like, you are a being with engineering
opportunities or challenges?
Opportunities. I'm sorry, I don't spell as good as John Legend. Opportunities in before you. I like the before because it can mean forward or before you. This right here, I've always said I'm the top 5 writer in human existence, but this right here is pushing me to like number 4 or number 3.
It's a good line.
Because who would you say is the top? It's top writer in human existence. We know who it is.
That's subjective. Who's that?
It's factual though.
Who's that?
It's like, who's the top person in tech history? It's not subjective.
Wow.
There's a non-subjective answer to both of those. Both of those people have influenced 30% of our existence.
So the influence is the main metric
I
of greatness.
Okay, one
Yeah.
person,
Yeah.
30% of our language was the English language was written by them. The other person, 30% of the products we use was led by them. So it's
30% of our
obvious.
language is written by
Come on.
Shakespeare.
And who's
And
other?
then the product.
Look.
Steve Jobs.
Yeah.
You put Steve above like Elon's of the world? Because Steve is
He's
a
passed.
designer, he's a designer and engineer, but he's a designer. He's a visionary in the design space.
Well, I would lean to him because I'm not an engineer, right? So I'm more
But
like
then you're an engineer. If Steve is an engineer, you're an engineer, essentially.
he's a cultural engineer. Like the people who run the emotions of the world and run the world off of people's emotions right now are social engineers. And social engineering is so important, like city design. There's a fancier word for that. But uh, I was in Oxnard last night to see Anthony Jeselnik,
Mhm.
and I gotta find out what his opening joke was because I'm doing interviews and I'm thinking I'm funny. And I like that he just kept on saying 20-year anniversary. I've been doing this for 20 years.
Mhm.
And his opening joke was so high level, I realized that I wasn't funny. I realized that this dude is a professional at what he does. And so many things are subjective. I always talk about this. It's like, people are arguing like, is Emily Ratajkowski the hottest, person? And I'm like, that's such a subjective thing. But like, if you go and shoot 3-pointers with Steph Curry, it's not subjective, right? Or if you go and compare bank accounts with Elon, it's not subjective. And another thing that's not subjective, porn,
What about it?
dick size. It's not subjective. You can measure.
But porn is more about more than just dick size, and greatness is more than the size of the bank account, right? So there's a
But
subjective
greatness
element,
is subjective, though.
right? So do you care about the stuff that's objective or subjective more? Because greatness to me is what matters. The bank account comes and goes. The impact on our society, like you said, social engineering, the impact on the collective intelligence of our species, that what permeates throughout the rest of the time.
I like what you said. The impact. I'm taking notes. What did you say? The
On the
impact of
collective intelligence of our species.
the impact on the collective intelligence.
When Ye is writing down the words that came out of my dumb mouth, I have made it in life.
There's a lot of people that have kind of like sat through. I wanted to wear a different color hoodie because I was just tired of seeing this hoodie in all the interviews. And there's a lot of kids that are with me. They see what I'm saying.
Yeah.
And they had to sit through all of the muck of all the previous interviews to get to this. Every interview has been just an emotional, it's just like been an argument up to this point. This is the first of, this is the next frontier of where our species is going to head. It starts here. It starts with you, Lex.
So this is the first time I heard you say the word engineering at least so many times, which I love hearing. So this is where you're at. You're like that newborn. You're a being with engineering opportunities.
Yeah. And we're all a newborn because in Christianity, we say born again. We're all newborns and everyone shall, I don't like the word can. Shall, the only thing about shall is like, it kind of dictates and can kind of lets people off the hook.
Mhm.
So I haven't found the perfect post Shakespeare and post Steve Jobs and post Elon and post Ye and post Drake way to communicate this. But we update and we do. And what the current media structure, no, it's not actually nothing that's holding us. There's nothing actually holding us back because I'm still alive. I'm still alive. Like they could have killed me at, George Bush don't care about black people. They could have killed me at Beyonce had the best video, but we're here now. So we just keep on leaning and leaning and leaning. And there's these things where I just think about, there'll be times when I'm at war, and every now and then when the bombs stop going off and all the headlines and the smearing and all that stuff going off, I think about my family, and I'll think about Kim, and I'll think about how, you know, King Koopa has her in the castle right now, and just on Mario Brothers, you know how it is. Just
Mhm.
go for the princess, and you get to this level, and it's like, "Dur, dur, dur, dur." I'm like, I
Yeah.
sung the song wrong, right? And then they take the princess again.
Which one are you, Mario?
Yeah.